Hey, good morning. It's Fort Worth Playboy, and welcome to the Fort Worth Playboy morning show. I don't know if we're actually running behind or on time this morning because we didn't really have a beginning um, time set because Saturdays are relatively new, but I'm glad you're here. If you have any questions, go to YouTube to present them, Twitter. I can't see everything on Twitter. And you have to say, what exactly are we here for? What we cover on the Fort Worth Playboy Morning Show is game pickup, relationships, and sex. And we usually save the sexiest stuff for Thursday mornings when Bunny's here because she is the sex expert. And I'm glad you're here this morning. And Baron Gaslight got here nice and got here like 7:43, a few minutes earlier than we just. I hope you're still here, but I appreciate you guys viewing. And as you know, if you watch our show, we always start off with one of Chateau Hartis maxims. And today we are starting off with maxim number 77, and I will get it up. Hang on, gentlemen. And there we go. So Chateau Hartis maxim is 77. If a man acts as if his life is full of willing women, then women will be more willing company. Again, you can fake this, and I like that Chateau, at least on a lot of these, he will let you know specifically the ones that are easier to fake, per se, for lack of a better word. You can act as if, and then over time, it will actually become the reality. You have to kind of present or make it appear that you have more women in your life than you actually do sometimes when you're starting out. But it's interesting that very quickly you'll begin to actually have a lot of women in your life. And it doesn't take a lot to keep you occupied. 3 or 4 women actively that you're seeing in a week. The sweet spot seems to be, even from my own experience and from the surveys that I've ran, is usually like 3 girls in a rotation seems to be the sweet spot. But if a man acts as if his life is full of willing women, there'll be more willing women in his life. And again, this is where, like with game, like with text, you vary your response times. You're not always available. You're not chatting with her all day. These are all extremely bad habits that really kill guys' game and attractiveness really quickly, and they don't even know it, and it's inadvertent. And it really, unfortunately, it upsets a lot of men that, they don't like thinking about this a whole lot. They'd rather think about, like, guys will think about their hobbies or their drinking habits or how to get, high again, far more than they'll think about sex or moving a girl from complete stranger to in your bed and naked and enthusiastically getting fucked by you. They'll spend more time on like radio controlled cars in their head. But this is one of those things that you can take just a little bit of time and you can invest it, even in just like having alpha text game, and get major returns and start banging more girls while you still pursue your drinking habit or your getting high schedule or your hobbies like disc golf or whatever it may be. But you can also have a lot of women in your life at the same time when you apply game, which is learn charisma. But for sometimes some guys just think it's too much trouble, and that's okay. I don't think they make it to my videos or to this part of Twitter or YouTube or our world, but sometimes they do. So even small amounts of effort will usually reap you very large dividends with game, because there's so few men that are actually charismatic and worth being around. And almost all are in our own little world because we're the only ones interested in this stuff. But even small things like varying your response time, not always being available, seeing her during the week, and she doesn't know where you're at on the weekends. You just always make yourself busy or unavailable. It's kind of like Coach Corey Wayne. Very early on, he suggests never to talk on the phone after 7 p.m. Literally, just don't take calls after 7 or initiate calls after 7. They don't need to know where you're at. You can be at the gym. You could be out with another girl. You could be out with another 2 girls. You could be at work late. But all she knows is she doesn't know where you're at. And usually if you're out after 7, you're with her. And if you're out with her, if you're not with her, she suspects you might be with another girl. And that turns them on. Again, girls like to compete. They want to compete for the men that other women want to be around. And you can create a false sense of scarcity, in the beginning. And over time, it will become genuine because you'll have more girls in your life. And when you follow like our online dating handbook or speak to every attractive girl you see, very quickly your schedule will fill up with women that you're having sex with. It's absolutely, unless there's something completely missing, guaranteed that this works. I'm going to cover some questions today. I'm going to do my absolute best to make this transition because I'm trying to get better at some of the tech. But that is the essence of maxim number 77. If you act as if your life is full of women, you always appear busy. You always have something interesting. If she says, well, what have you been doing? Just make it interesting. You can't be sitting at home. If you play video games, forget that. Tell her something else. Tell her you're writing a book. Anything except for Bitcoin and video games will be I'm trying to learn how to play guitar. I'm doing this. I helped a friend move. Anything except for the most boring activities that a man could engage in. And they're interesting to men, but for women, they're not that interesting. But if you act as if your life is full of willing women, then there will be more women to be in your life. And like Baron Gaslight says, less is more when it comes to women. Less is more. Your attention is valuable. Again, and that's extremely important. It's that your attention has value is very important. And the less you can spread it around, and there's a sweet spot where you're giving her enough to keep her on the hook, but not so much that she's like, God, I'm so sick of it. But most men, and let me just convey this, so much of what we do is attractive because it's contrasted with what your average guy does, which is nothing, or they're terrible. It's like anti-gay. It drives women away. We're going to take a chance here. Bakes online. I've seen a beautiful girl today, my type to a T. I froze up though. Wanted to approach, but didn't look or feel right. My business has picked up, confidence is up, yet my inner game wasn't sorted. Again, old school pickup artists, old school, the hardcore guys, mystery. The guys that actually are on the ground, usually in Europe or New York City or major cities that are actually on the ground meeting girls, and that's their thing. It's even less about the sex than just meeting girls and moving them from stranger to in bed. 3-second rule. Don't go more than 3 seconds. You just have to hit it. As soon as you feel that urge to speak to her, just open your mouth. Again, it makes it easier because, I work with a lot of very normal, shy guys that simply want more women in their life. And we always say you have to start with making it a habit, saying hi to every attractive girl you see, which means you're going to be saying hi to a lot of women throughout the day. I mean, you don't have to be that picky. You're not going to try to escalate every conversation. I always suggest that even in the beginning, the first week or 2 weeks, just saying hi, just acknowledging, saying hi, getting something out of your mouth. The girls that are interested will make small talk. Sometimes you might be in a position where you guys can further, but you don't in the beginning, don't stick yourself to trying to get her number, trying to ask her. None of that. Just get into the habit of it's kind of like showing up at the gym. You're never going to get jacked. You're never going to get into shape. Your very first habit has to be showing up. And the same thing is in game. You have to get into the habit of saying hi to every girl that you see that you find attractive. And I always say with the attractive, because guys get all kind of, I don't like fat girls, or I don't like, just get in the goddamn habit of saying hi to every girl you see. And then it'll become automatic. And it'll actually make it easier when the girls that are like 7s, 8s, and maybe a 9 it gets in front of you. You're so automatic. You're like, oh, I already started talking to her. Again, you'll catch yourself. You'll be talking to a girl and realize she's actually better looking than you're used to. Sometimes there's just genetic freaks walking amongst us. But again, it's normal to be hesitant, especially if you haven't built the habit. It's going to be a little bit harder in the front end. But like you said, most of your stuff is starting to move in the right direction. And this is something that will too. But you do have to, and like we were talking about yesterday, you do have to focus in on it. And you'll always have like some strengths and some weaknesses in your game. And you can focus on, at least when you're still developing, work on those weaknesses, because like not approaching will be, you can have the best game in the world, but if you don't open, it's going to be a lot tougher. And like you said, everything comes from practice. Exactly. Over. And you always think of it like a sport or like going to the gym. You have to walk in, you have to show up for practice over and over and over. And it becomes automatic. Same thing with the gym. It's easier to go to the gym 6 or 7 days a week than 3. It's just easier that it's just part of your day. And the same thing can be with opening or saying hi and speaking to every attractive girl you see. You'll end up talking. You'll see more attractive women. You'll talk to more attractive women. There's really no downside. But I do appreciate your efforts, and the question. It's absolutely on point. And let me find my spot. Here we go. And then the next slide, every interaction you have with a girl, text, direct message, call, meet up, before you fuck her, is an opportunity for you to say something stupid or for her to find a problem with you and not fuck you. And this comes from moving girls from online game to in person. And even if you just pick up their number through social circle, or you meet her at the gym, wherever you're at, but from the moment that you meet up with her to when you're fucking her, like that second or third time, she's kind of like getting used to you. You want to minimize any of the text, DMs, anything that's calls, instant messaging, voicemail, voice messaging. All of that is in her favor. Women are stronger online and through electronics than men. Men are stronger and have better presence and have better game in person. There's no downside to having her in your vicinity, in your physical vicinity. If you want to have leverage, get her in front of you as fast as possible and minimize the electronic communication, for lack of a better word, but that kind of covers it all. And the reason is that before a girl starts fucking you regularly, she'll fuck you once and maybe still change her mind. But after she's fucked you 3 or 4 times, up until that point, she's looking for a reason not to fuck you. She's looking for a reason to eliminate you. She's looking for a reason or something that you say or do, or that reminds her of her ex-boyfriend, or something that another guy said, or something that she thinks in her head she can't live with. Like you like Trump, or you like fast cars, or you like, space travel, anything, because girls they're weird and something might put her off. So the less information you're giving like that, the less interactions you have. Again, it's her perception. Is it stupid? Yes, but it's her perception. And the more information back and forth, the greater the chance of something fucking up in the communication and her just ghosting, as opposed to one or two, maybe three exchanges, and then you get her in front of you and close the deal. You're on the front end. One, it's a minimum amount of time invested. She's got your attention and you have her attention. In person, men are stronger. You got your presence, your size, your charisma. She's actually interested. And again, remember, a girl that's going to go all the way to meeting up with you is pretty much 99% open to fucking you. You've just got to get her past that 1% of hesitancy, and you'll close on the first date or second date. Kind of like I tell people, like guys that have purchased and invested into my how to build your dating system have never gone to the third date. It's just not necessary. Again, once you have a system and you plug girls into it, they know what they're looking at when they meet you. Oh, this guy's worth fucking. I better close this deal or let him move me, to wherever he wants to tonight. So every interaction you have with a girl before you start fucking is an opportunity for you to say something stupid and for her to find a problem with you and not fuck you. And that's a bad thing. So that is the real deal. We're going to get into the next slide. And I don't trust this let's see if I can play it and let me know if you can hear it. You guys hear that video? Can't hear it. Okay. So I'll explain it. The girl, the blonde hair, is married to a pro quarterback. His name's Matthew Stafford. And it's an example. And the title is If You Want to Run a Rotation and Keep It Casual, which is what most rotations are, you have to have an easy come, easy go attitude, or you will end up with a girlfriend. Otherwise, you're better off sticking with serial monogamy. A lot of guys want to run rotations, but they don't understand that the balance of a rotation is you're free to do what you want. She's free to come and go as she wants. And guys are usually okay with the front end, the first part, but they want all the girls, the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, to be only loyal to him, even if it's unspoken, kind of like covert contracts, as Rian Stone would say. But you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's why I always convey to men that if you want to, it's probably the first paragraph of my How to Run a Rotation. Well, I talk about all the advantages. You can find a great girl by running a rotation. You can find 3 great girls running a rotation. But you have to be okay with her seeing other people. And if you're not, that's okay too. You know your limits. You should stick with serial monogamy, where it's where you meet one girl and you date her for like the free 12-week period. She'll bring up a relationship, and then you guys go until you break up, and then you find the next girl and you go for the free 12-week free trial, and then you're together for a while, then you break up. That's probably a better setup. But if you're open to running rotation, just like she says, and I think a lot of people have missed this, is this guy was a college quarterback, and he just wanted to casually date this girl. Well, she's a girl, so she's smart. Well, we're casually dating, so she starts banging the backup quarterback, and her, eventual husband, Matthew Stafford, is always seeing her car in the parking lot. All the athletes stay in the same dorm. So he doesn't know where she's going, but he knows that she's in the dorm somewhere. So she, leaves her other dude's place, gets in her car. Well, he gets in the car, but because, he's got that traditional, jealousy streak, he's like, yeah, I don't want you dating other people. And so the deal is, of course, that he doesn't date other people. He was okay that it was casual as long as he wasn't aware or didn't know that she was actually seeing other people. And that's usually the breaking point is, guys, you have to learn how to be okay with this, or it's probably not a good fit, because at some point you will end up with a girlfriend. Again, just like this guy ended up marrying her, and everybody's like getting all, oh, she's a whore. Well, no, they weren't together. There's no exclusivity. In a way, what we always say is, you're not exclusive until let the girl bring it up, and she'll bring it up when she wants to, about you guys being exclusive. At about 12 to 16 weeks in normal girls, they'll bring up, hey, where's this going? Or what are we? You'll hear those phrases, and you have to have your lines ready, because you're going to hear this a lot in your lifetime if you're running a lot of girls. And it needs to be, you need to, if you want to keep it casual, you just go, hey, I really value my independence, and I like what we have right now, and I would just like to see where it goes, but keep it as it is. And she will, if she's looking for a boyfriend, and most are eventually, well, in another 8 or 10 weeks, go, hey, I can't see you too much anymore because, me and Mike are getting serious. They'll find a guy that's more open to monogamy, that's more inclined to having a girlfriend, a guy that's a more traditional boyfriend. There's the vast majority of guys are like that. And if you want to run a rotation, you just have to resign yourself. You have to understand that that's part of the deal. You can't have a jealous streak. You can't ask questions. You're just going to get yourself into trouble. But you also have a lot of women running in your life. You're not really going to have time to think about any one girl too much. And the reason I actually even posted this today was because I see a lot of guys, seeing this, and they are misinterpreting that like she's running around on her boyfriend, who's now a pro quarterback, when it really wasn't. But she was running her own girl game. Like she says, she's sitting in the car and he's getting jealous, and she's like, it's working, so she knows what she's doing. And girls, that's their job, is to close on the best guy they can find. And she wanted this college going to be a pro quarterback. So she got him to do what she wanted to do without him even realizing it. But should he have known what the deal was and know that he just wanted to stay casual, because basically a college quarterback, it's going to be unlimited for life, he could do so. And she'd stick around. Then she probably would have ended up with the backup quarterback as a girlfriend, So then she's off the market. That's the deal, though. You have to know, and you have to have your lines ready if you're going to be a player, if you're going to run a rotation. And the reason I did bring it up was, one, I've seen a lot of confusion, and even like one of the guys that commented down here, if a girl that he has in his rotation bangs someone that he knows, he usually cuts her out, which I thought was very interesting, because I've never even really thought about that. I always like the yes or no rule. You can either manage it or not. But he has a subset rule that if it's like a buddy of his and she has sex with a buddy, he doesn't see her anymore, which I think is fascinating, because most social circles, there's a lot of interconnection. There's a lot of swapping, some known, some unknown. But, you get 10 or 15 people that tend to know each other socially, and they'll tend to all fuck each other at some point. And that's why I thought that was very interesting that he brought that up, that he had this rule that if she can bang who she wants to, but if it's somebody that is a friend of his, and I don't know how many, how close of a friend, but someone that he knows, he doesn't like to see her anymore for whatever reason. But you have to have your rules. You have to know what you're able to withstand. And like I always suggest to guys, if, the idea of her not knowing what she's doing, not knowing who she's with, not being able to focus in on yourself and take care of, the other 3, 4, 5 women in your life, it's better to stay with serial monogamy. That way you kind of know what's going on. It's very traditional. and sometimes it's a better fit for guys. Running a rotation is not for everyone. You do have to have a certain mindset. But there's no way to like know until you've ran it yourself or explored it in your mind. Yeah, this would be a good idea, or no, this would be a bad idea. So if you want to run a rotation, keep it casual. You have to have an easy come, easy go attitude. It's the only one that works, or you will end up with a girlfriend, wife, etc. And otherwise, you're better off sticking with serial monogamy. And that's the real deal when it comes to running rotations. And that's one of those things where guys go, I want to run a rotation. That's why my book is so invaluable. It helps you set up like a structure that this thing will work. Otherwise, when guys kind of wing it, they're like all fucked up and they have to learn everything the hard way. And that just kind of sucks. If you're interested in any of my products, you can go to fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com and pick it up there. There's I think I have 25 books at this point. So next slide, game principle, irrational self-confidence. No matter what your station in life is, stride through the world without apology or excuse. It does not matter if objectively you're not the best man a woman can get. What matters is that you think and act like you are. Chateau Artiste. I always like this one meme where you must be retarded if you think we're fucking. And he's definitely retarded. And that's the thing. You have to be stupidly confident, or like we say, irrationally self-confident that every girl would, why wouldn't she fuck me? Of course she'll fuck me. I mean, and that's why I always put out there she's fucked way bigger losers than you. She'll fuck you too. You have to realize that these girls, they'll put up a front like there's some kind of picky diva, and they've banged coke dealers, convicts, losers, unemployed, gamblers, you name it. Every guy that can fuck up, she's had sex with him, and she's going to have sex with you too. So don't ever let any girl present that she's too good, because she's not. She's got all kinds of secrets. She's got all kinds of skeletons. That's why I always say that girls are shy at first. They don't want to open their mouth and all these skeletons fall out. They start telling all their secrets. But irrational self-confidence or overconfidence is the heart of game. You have to believe in yourself more than anyone else is ever going to have faith in you. And it's unusual for guys. They struggle to put this even into, seduction or attraction, even though you kind of have to do it in your work or in sports or in, physical life. Just like in your job, you have to think one step ahead. I think I would be really good at this. So you act as if you already have that position. You act as if you already had those skills. How would a guy that's at this rank act? You start acting at that rank. It's usually one or two ranks above you. Again, with girls, you have to act as if you have a lot of women in your life, and very quickly you will have a lot of women in your life. You have to act as if you're the best thing that's ever walked in the door. And pretty soon she'll get on board too. Or her friends will get on board. They'll be like, oh, you're fucking up. And then they'll fuck you. You have to realize that that's where a lot of referrals come from when it comes to sex. But game principle, irrational self-confidence is foundational. You have to drill that into your head overall. And like Baron Gaslight says, irrational self-confidence is better than rational defeatism. And that's what you have to really drive. I mean, more guys. I mean, it's just like when you see guys that are shorter, overweight, older, and they'll be with a smoke show. You need to pay attention to those men. Watch them in action, because what you will see is irrational self-confidence all the time. I mean, they believe in themselves, and after a while, everyone around them believes in them too. And so that's the real deal. Anytime you see somebody that looks like they're with a girl that's way out of his class, he's doing, it ain't luck, and it ain't money, and it's not a 10-inch dick. It's something else. It's charisma. I mean, all the other shit comes and goes, but game, it's forever. And you carry it around no matter what your condition is. Again, you see a guy that doesn't look like he should be, he's got charisma. He's got it going on. A lot of guys default to like going, oh, he must pay for it, because they can't wrap their head around the fact that this can be developed and it can be something that you can have for the price of the effort that you put into it. Again, that's the real deal with game principle. Irrational self-confidence is better than rational defeatism. Thanks, Baron Gaslight, for putting that out as I try to navigate around on this. We've got a lot of comments tonight or today. But if you guys are interested, I'm going to have to start wrapping it up. But I appreciate you guys being here today. I appreciate your questions. I'm going to try to get in here on Saturdays and Sundays in the future because guys are off and you have a little bit more time. But otherwise, we're here at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, Central Standard Time, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we cover most of this, and we cover some other tweets that are out there. But mostly it's reinforcing the basics and answering questions and getting your mind right so you can have a great day. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in. And if you want to support this channel financially or with your physical support, like, comment, subscribe. And if you're interested in our products, it's at fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com, or Bunny's is at myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. She's got her Fuck Like a Porn Star series. Unbeatable. I hope you guys have a great Saturday, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.